Hey guys, welcome back to Three Swords Productions. Steven here with Nathan. We're going to do commentary over Ivankov versus Whitebeard. I actually think that Ivankov was my favorite deck going into set two, but as I got more experience playing against Kenemon, it felt really brutal. I actually do think that Ivankov has a home against Zoro and Whitebeard, but Whitebeard, as we're hopefully going to showcase, the matchup's kind of rough and you have to get pretty lucky. And I wasn't able to do it in this game, but I do think that it was close enough to where you might win some games, not a complete shutout.
Absolutely. There was definitely
Um,
cool plays you were doing there.
yeah, and well, that's how I feel about Ivankov. I don't actually think that it has a home in the top tier one decks, but maybe it's somewhere down in tier two or three.
All
So
right.
let's go over to the game and check it out.
Yeah, so we played this one the other night. You were on the Ivankov side, and I was on the Whitebeard side.
That's right. I'm on Batman sleeves from deck to dawn.
Yeah, that's right. Looks like Batman sleeves with a bat. Is that a bat girl? Is that what that is?
It is, and unfortunately, as this is going to be the rest of the commentary tonight, it's just on the Batman sleeves. The Batman sleeves are actually textured. The Batgirl sleeves are not. Unfortunately, Dragon Shield did change their formula to get away from the texturing that was making them so much money. They
Interesting. Yeah,
decided they were
interesting.
done with all that.
And what's on the back of the what's on the back of Ivankov here?
So Ivankov's actually featured. So the shell on the Ivankov is actually a Ultimate Guard Katana sleeve. It's
Oh,
actually my
okay.
favorite sleeves to have ever been produced. Unfortunately, they're not quite durable enough, so I can't use them for my deck. But my leaders certainly, and you can see on the Edward Newgate, certainly get the Katana treatment.
That's right. All right. Let's talk about an actual game instead of something we're not even.
Sleeve talk with the boys.
Okay. Anyways, I'm on the Newgate side. We're looking for the Dans, Namis, like every single matchup ever. But on top of that, we want to be a little bit pressuring early.
Does look like you had lost the die roll and you went first.
Well,
Um,
that is sad for the Newgate side, but we'll recover.
okay, looking at 5 cards, and I would add the Radical Beam here. Let's see what you opt for. The Nico Robin, it looks like you're going to take.
I can understand taking Nico Robin
bit of
if
a
you
reconsider.
don't have any good other early plays here.
Okay.
Looks like I saw 5-drop Luffy and Brooks in hand.
Okay, so you are going to look for that early move. Your opponent has been distracted by a shiny object and has gotten out of his chair. Understand that.
We won't judge him for that. That happens from time to
Looks
time.
like you're looking at the ordering of your cards.
Yeah, it doesn't always matter, but it does give me agency and feel all right to make sure that the cards I'm putting on the bottom are helping if I were to go back through the deck.
Right. Well, you have a lot of search in your deck. Correlated on Nami,
Mhm.
and then as we get to the next set, even more cards that search your deck. So it is important to always consider the way that you're stacking, especially against Ivankov. The games can actually go a little bit longer.
Absolutely, yeah. Ivankov can grind,
Okay, and we're looking for an Impel Down card to add to our hand.
and 7-drop is a good card.
That's right. So I'm actually already holding one, it looks like. I'm adding the second one to my hand, which is actually not very good. I'm not able to lose it. Okay, and we're putting 9-drop Mihawk on the top.
Mihawk is good. Did you put it? I didn't see exactly where it was stacked. There
It was actually just on the top card.
top card. Okay.
Yeah, so my line here was I want to add the 9-drop Mihawk. I'm actually not going to go for the Emporio Ivankov play with the first one.
I see.
I was hoping to go 7-drop, put in Crocodile, and then on the following turn, Mihawk, and then the turn after that, rebuild with the second 7-drop.
Okay.
So actually on the next turn, I was looking to play 3-drop Doflamingo to go ahead and take the other 4 cards and put them on the bottom of my deck.
Yep.
Now you'll see that starting with a game plan here doesn't always mean that you're going to end on that game plan. So we do change it up a little bit.
Yeah, it was a pretty simple turn from my side here. It was attack 6k. He pitched 2k from hand to get out of it. I play Nico Robbins, and now Nico can probably kill something on board. Not that it's necessary by any means, but has the opportunity to at least. And this is a play that you really like doing on the early turns of the game with against Newgate, right?
Against Edward Newgate, especially or specifically Strawbeard, actually not holding the 3-drop Doflamingo, so kind of ADHD riddled brain, I guess. I don't know, but I definitely set up for a convoluted play. So against Whitebeard, against Strawbeard, I like swinging with 8 or more on turn 2, I think it pressures them to either discard a card or take the life. You know, they can, if they're not holding 9-drop already, they'll just take the life. I get a little bit of information there. If they are holding 9-drop, they're going to be more willing to lose 2 cards in their hand, which can set me up for kind of grinding them out in the late game.
Absolutely. And now we see my side here as I play a Nami, and I have a couple options. I think I do end up going for the Radical Beam, but 5-drop is also good. You have a number of good blockers from your deck.
Yeah, note you actually know that I'm playing a lot of blockers in my deck. A lot of them are, 5Ks, 7Ks, and I have a lot of good ways to protect them as well. So it's actually very fair of you to go ahead and add the Luffy to your hand if you're not already holding one. Does look like you add Radical Beam, but I do think that Luffy in this situation, is something to think about.
Oh, so I think there was 2 thoughts here that I had. One is that I already had, I think, a 5-drop Luffy in hand, so I don't know that a second one was necessary.
Second one probably not.
But I needed a bit more counter power in my hand. I didn't have the late game sustainability that I would really have liked to have. And we opt to go 4-drop Luffy to hopefully start really pressuring down. We also want to overload in the board in worlds where he starts playing 6-drop Luffy.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, going wide, definitely a good-looking option against Ivankov. As another 5K leader, you have five life here. Just go wide and start poking. You're going to see as the Ivankov player gets down further into their game, they're going to have 2 cards in their hand super often. So if you can either swing for 7 or swing multiple times in the same turn, you're going to be able to really pressure them in a way that they can't do anything about.
Yeah. Unfortunately, me playing the Luffy did give you full value on that Brick Fist, though.
That's right. Arboresque Brick Fist, 2 cost, main ability. Just add a 4-drop back to the opponent's hand. Actually really powerful against Strawbeard specifically, as they are going to be leaning pretty hard on, single beefy monsters, beefy characters. Lots of those.
A lot of beef going on my side.
Lots of beef.
All right.
Okay, we're gonna see what he does with his Dawn. Looks like he's on 7 this turn, so this could be ace turn.
This could be an ace turn. Ace doesn't feel great here. You're not using its ability for any actual effect. You just got a 7K with Rush, which is good, but I have the 4-drop that you got back to my hand. We already know that I have the 5-drop Luffy, so I could decide to swing that around, or maybe I have something else. I don't really know.
Well, I do know that you have 4-drop Luffy, so you could be trying to consider what plays you can make with that. You have a lot to consider this turn. Is it worth putting a Dawn on Nico Robin and swinging? You do get to, obviously destroy 2 cards here, or 1 of 2 cards here.
Yeah.
If you can somehow find Otama, then you can, go ahead and pop my 5K blocker.
Which is very nice.
It's actually really powerful in this against, here, basically get it while it's a 5K instead of a 7K.
Yeah. Also, to comment on that, something I've seen outside of the blocker, but if you attack with Nico Robins to kill one of their 1-mana 2Ks, often Ivankov fills up their board pretty quickly because they've got so many things that allow them to play extra characters out that eventually they're going to hit limit and just going to kill that for you anyways. So sometimes you're helping them even by just killing them off. It's not helping, but you're wasting resources in a way that you don't need to waste resources.
Correct. So yeah, that could be one thing to consider when deciding, is it right to just power up Nico Robin and swing? You also have to question, how am I trying to deal damage right now? Am I trying to get my opponent, cards out of their hand? What's my goal here?
Right. Yeah. And I'm upset you didn't block. I wanted you to block, man.
Right. I think a little bit of not knowing how that ability works.
No, I think it was just my misunderstanding for a second. That's all. But
you thought I had blocked with my 5K,
and I was trying to say, hey, you gotta tap it. No, it's not.
In this case, it is just a 5K blocker. Often, if you're deciding, I have high life total and I don't mind, I'm gonna counter out of it.
Yeah.
Either way, then just use your face. Don't use your blocker because that doesn't.
Exactly.
That way, you still have your blocker untapped.
And I follow up with a chopper to help protect the Luffy. If he wants to really commit onto it, I'm going to make him commit onto it, especially with the blocker.
Right. And you have a lot of cards in hand. You have the blocker now. Swinging a large number at the Luffy doesn't make a lot of sense.
No. And now the plan will be start using these characters on board to hopefully start swinging in to force you to toss some of those cards from your hand.
6 on lead here. Now, it could be a little bit weak. You could just decide, hey, I'm just going to take the life, give me that card earlier than the end of my next turn.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. But, this is kind of me saying, hey, if you are holding 9-drop Newgate, then I want you to have 0 life when you play it, not 1. So I can a little bit test to see what you have. Then I can kind of expect, hey, he's probably going to 9-drop me. Otherwise, he would have just taken the life.
Yeah.
And then I just run out my Emporio Ivankov #1. So kind of going into that plan that we kind of set up on turn 1. Super important when you're looking at the top card of your deck as often as the Ivankov player gets to, that you establish these plays and you plan for it as you play the game. It's just also important to expect and anticipate what your opponent's going to be doing so that your plays don't get interrupted super often. You are afforded the flexibility to change your mind and go a different route, but you are losing efficiency that your deck really needs to have. You don't have like the blunt force that Whitebeard just naturally has.
Right.
Although you do have the widest mouth of all time, so that's actually huge win there.
All right, now we're going for the ace play. Ace, Nico Robbins. We're going to talk about that play earlier where I actually minus the blocker and be able to kill it before he's got no cards in hand.
That's right. Actually, really powerful because if you don't do that, you swing, I can actually discard 2 cards, go down to 1, and then now it's a 7K, and Nico Robin can't blow that up. So you actually have to play ace first, then you have to swing Nico Robin first. So very good job playing it that way.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Now, 6K at face, we're going to start trying to whittle down their life. We have to really force them before they're able to attack multiple turns while they have high life.
7, you did see the weakness of my deck. I get down to 2 cards, whether that's from my leader ability or I just have 2 cards in my hand, and you can just say, hey, I'm going to swing 7 on you, and you have to take it.
Mm-hmm. Me hesitating with the Luffy there was actually me considering, do I want to add another card to his hand? It's a little bit weird with Ivankov. You kind of sometimes want to overload them so they can't use their leader's ability quite as effective. It was also in this case that I said he'd go up to 4 cards in hand, so if he plays another 7-drop Ivankov, then he's not going to be drawing any cards off of it. So it kind of worked out the same for me to be able to attack here. Mm-hmm. And I already had tapped characters, so it's not like I'm worried about any of my characters specifically being attacked down.
Looks like I have a few good attacks here. I'm just trying to work out the best way to use my Dawn efficiently. And I'm going to start out with a 6K attack here.
Where's it going? It's going to face. That makes sense.
Face, because I do have to like
undo. Controls do that. Okay. What was your thought though? What do you
attacking face here? Gets a card out of your hand, and then gives me still the flexibility to play the 9-drop. And I really have to consider, am I trying to clean up your board? Do I have enough cards? Do I have enough life to defend on the next turn? Mm-hmm. So it really has to be a repivot of what's my goal? Am I trying to clean up the board? Am I trying to deal this damage to you? And I think my thought is that you have 1 Dawn open. You just have a lot of cards and a lot of resources available to you. I do not actually think I'll be able to kill you this turn. So instead, let's repivot. Let's make you defend your board a bit.
And I think either way, you're getting cards out of my hand. You're not getting quite as many probably as you would if you were attacking my face. But you have to worry about yourself before you're able to really
Well, it's about what are you going to do with those cards. I think that you're more willing to just hold the cards in your hand to protect your face than you are to actually protect characters on your board. Mm-hmm. And this actually let me kind of sneak one in with Mihawk. Because I don't think that you thought I would be able to get rid of the 7-drop at that point.
Yes.
So you're thinking, hey, Ace is protected, and then Mihawk comes down, and suddenly I have control of the board, as well as you have basically nothing at this point. So.
Yep. So now my consideration is I'm staring down. What is that? A 9, a 7, a 7, and then 2 that don't really matter. But 9, a 7, and a 7 next turn with 1 chopper. So I have to start considering: can I kill my opponent this turn?
Yeah, I am looking at the two Makinos in your hand, so I'm thinking you can.
I'm
Uh,
thinking I can too.
you did play out a lot of your rushers already, so I'm kind of hoping that you don't have more of those. Um, the Strawbeard version does play so many rushers, though. It's kind of hard to, get out of these final turns without them playing a rusher. So
Yeah. There was another interesting consideration. I had, 5-drop Rush Luffy in hand, so I did have another option at um, a third attack, which is very important here because you do have one life. So I'm going to, if you counter out of either one of these two attacks, I would need to have another attack available. But it looks like the first one you take, and I'm able to get in for a lot with this Nami. Yeah.
okay, so we are going full in on the Nami, which I really respect because Nami's such a beautiful card. I think that it's super important to finish as many games as possible with Nami. And here I threaten blocking with my Perona. If I were a less reputable man, I would have pretended that Perona actually gained blocker through some sort of errata. You being incredibly naive would have believed me, and I would have actually taken home this dub. But unfortunately, I am very respectful to my opponent, and
I'm glad you respect me so much.
did not do that. So, but yeah, that's the game. As you can see, it gets really tough. In the late game when your opponent just has like such an overwhelming force. You do have a lot of characters, and I think if the game had gone on, a single turn more, I would have been able to utilize my board to swing back on you for lethal after clearing up your board. But
Yeah.
showcasing the power of Ivankov to actually be able to keep up with Whitebeard in some way. Especially, I actually feel like I didn't play that matchup super well. If you guys notice any mistakes or things that I could work on as the Ivankov player, let me know in the comments down below. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a great showcase from both sides there. We got to see some of the cool plays that can happen in this matchup, but I think ultimately Whitebeard probably has a little bit of an edge here. So
Yeah, that raw ability of just swing 6K and you have to like pitch 2K to get out of this is pretty brutal. So, all right, guys, if you're still here, like and subscribe to the video. Thanks.